The first time I realized something was wrong was the night I found the lipstick stain, not on his shirt, but on my coffee mug. A delicate smear of coral rose, a color I never wore, clinging to the rim like a whispered confession. The mug was still warm, steam rising faintly. Someone had been here. Someone had sat in my kitchen. Someone had touched what was mine. I stood frozen, the hum of the refrigerator suddenly too loud, the ticking clock pounding like a pulse at my temples. My husband, Darren, walked in a minute later, smelling faintly of hotel soap and stale wine. He didn't notice the mug, didn't look at me long enough to see the tremor in my hand. "You're up early," he said, voice flat, distracted, already scrolling his phone. That was the first crack, thin, almost invisible. Easy to rationalize, easy to swallow. But cracks spread. Over the next weeks, I watched him vanish. Not in the dramatic storm out the doorway, but in small, suffocating withdrawals. Shorter conversations, longer showers, a phone that never left his palm. His smile shifting into something tight, distant, like a mask molded to fit someone else's expectations. And I, pathetic in my fear, desperate to hold on, kept pretending I didn't see it. Until the night I did. It was past midnight when I heard the laughter through the phone. A woman's laugh, low, intimate, too familiar. Darren was in the living room, talking quietly, pacing. I stayed at the hallway corner, gripping the wall to steady myself, pulse hammering through my chest. "She has no idea," he whispered, chuckling. "I swear, she thinks I'm working late." Yeah, I'll tell her soon. It's just, she's fragile. Fragile. A word spoken like an insult. A word that pinned me down, made me small. The next morning, he asked for a divorce. He didn't look sad. He didn't even look conflicted. He looked relieved, like betrayal was freedom. I remember laughing, a sharp, broken sound, because what else could I do? My world had been sawed in half, and he didn't even blink. "What happened to us?" I whispered. "You settled," he said. "You stopped being interesting. And honestly, nobody wants to divorce nobody. But you'll figure something out." He walked out like he was tossing away an old jacket, something worn, outdated, unworthy of repair. The silence he left behind felt heavier than the betrayal itself. Rebuilding wasn't clean or courageous. It was ugly. It was sobbing into blankets at 3 a.m. It was staring at my reflection and not recognizing the woman looking back. It was shame tangled with anger, confusion fighting guilt, love battling resentment. My heart felt like a wound that refused to scab. But survival has a strange way of rooting quietly, like weeds clawing through concrete. I began baking again, something he always mocked. "Waste of time," he'd say, waving a hand. "No one wants homemade cakes when you can buy them cheaper." But people did. A neighbor ordered a dozen cupcakes for a birthday. Then a co-worker. Then someone from a nearby cafe. Word spread. Orders piled in. I rented a small commercial kitchen space. I worked nights, cried between batches, doubted myself constantly, but kept going. Every fear, every bruise inside me, I poured into recipes, layered flavors, textures that melted, colors that comforted. My pastries tasted like survival. A year later, I owned a small bakery. 2 years later, it was profitable. 3 years later, a local TV station called, wanting to feature a rising entrepreneur with a story of resilience. The interview aired on a Friday evening. I didn't know Darren would see it. I didn't know he'd recognize the shop behind me, or the confidence in my voice, or the sparkle in my eyes he once dismissed as naive. But he did. He showed up the next morning. The bell above the bakery door chimed, and there he stood, an echo of the man I once loved, now dulled at the edges. His hair thinner, his smile brittle, his arrogance cracked. "Wow," he muttered, stepping inside. I didn't expect all this. I wiped flour from my hands. "What do you want, Darren?" He swallowed, avoiding my gaze. "I saw you on TV. You look great. Successful. I just wanted to talk. Maybe we could." "No." He blinked. "I haven't even said." "You don't get to rewrite the ending," I said quietly. "You wrote yours the day you walked out." His jaw tightened. "I made a mistake, okay? Things didn't work out with." "I don't care." He finally looked at me then. Really looked, and I saw the truth flicker in his eyes. Regret, envy, disbelief that the woman he discarded had become something without him. "You were right, Darren," I said softly. "I was a divorced nobody, until the day you left." His face paled. "And that," I added, "was the day I finally became someone." He opened his mouth, but the bell chimed again as I turned away, heading back to the kitchen, the warm scent of rising dough filling the air. Behind me, I heard the door close. A quiet surrender, a final goodbye, and for the first time in years, I felt free.